dawno zapomniał, a my tacy sami, tacy mali, tacy sami, tacy mali, tak jak ja i ty. Ja i ty, tacy mali, ja i ty, tacy mali. Nie ma tak już naprawdę takich ludzi jak kiedyś. Wszystko to, co kochałeś, każdy tu zapomniał.
Welcome back to Switched to Linux. Well, today we're doing another distro wars. Distro versus distro. And this was a fun request. Leave me your requests for these, by the way. And this distro is going to be MX Linux versus Manjaro. Actually, the first time the person said this is, hey, MX versus Mint, I'm like, well, I do MX Linux versus Mint XFCE edition because I would like to keep a lot of things consistent between these distro versus distros. But then he emails back not too long ago later and says, hey, can you change that MX versus Manjaro? So this is for you. I forget who asked for this. But Manjaro versus MX Linux. So of course, Manjaro has an XFCE official build, so we're using the official XFCE, and MX Linux is also based on XFCE. So with these, our primary differences between these are going to be that your MX Linux is based on Debian and your Manjaro is based on Arch. So you have your ultimate quick difference between them is ultimately that. So we have different package managers. What we'll actually find is that the MX Linux probably has a few more interesting tools built into it. Manjaro gives you a much more fluid, more like a complete look versus the MX Linux. The MX Linux can look dated depending on some people. I think Manjaro is probably one of the best distros to have an XFCE build. And so what we're actually going to do here is we'll have a look at MX Linux first. Let me get logged into here and make sure it's starting in full screen, and then we will switch over to that. Okay, so on to MX Linux. This is going to be the first one. So MX Linux uses XFCE with a less traditional desktop, and that we have our bar across the top. Of course, being XFCE, we can move that anywhere that we want. We can even put it right in the middle of the screen if you really want to. I'm not sure why you would or what the use case is for that, but you actually can do it. We do have this nice pop-up menu here on startup. We have some various tweaks. We have some various tools, user manuals, FAQs, forums, codecs, things like this. Let me go ahead before we jump in, tell you that both these distros were downloaded in October about the same time. There may be a more recent update to these. I haven't checked, but they are both very recent releases. So there might be a slightly newer one out there. There's definitely going to be some updates if I run my update manager. So let's go ahead and jump on here. Now, of course, we have this nice welcome screen here. We have the option to show it or not show it. That's actually ticked right now because I wanted to make sure I showed it next time we started the desktop as well. So the things that we see out of the box. Now, the installer on these, I actually like the settings and options inside of MX Linux installer, but I think Manjaro's installer is slightly easier to use. You're less inundated with options, but things like the MX Linux installer gives you the option on the install as, hey, do you want to set your clock at 24 or 48 or 24 or 12-hour time? 48. Whoa, what's that? Anyway, you can set your clock directly on the installer, which is a very minor thing, but I actually had somebody leave a comment the other day. How do I change the clock in XFCE? It's driving me crazy. You'd want to right click it. You want to do your properties and you want to change your format down here. Of course, go ahead and update that if we want to. I'm not going to in this case. There's some various updates, passwords, keys, task managers, things like that. Somebody switching over to Linux. Now, again, your package manager is going to be apt in this case because it's based on Debian. And other than that, it has a lot of good user-friendly tools. It has a nice style and design and a little bit slightly different of a desktop